When a narcissist drinks, the mask begins to slip, and what spills out is far more than alcohol. It's as if the substance cracks open the door to the hidden corridors of the soul, revealing impulses that were once restrained, desires that were once veiled, and a recklessness that knows no boundary. The narcissist already lives with an insatiable appetite for control and attention, but when intoxication takes hold, the restraints that keep that hunger somewhat in check are cut loose. Alcohol doesn't simply dull their senses, it amplifies their sense of entitlement. The narcissist, intoxicated, may jump behind the wheel of a car, convinced that rules are for other people, not for them. The law, safety, even human life itself becomes secondary to their immediate craving. It's not about the drive. It's about proving to themselves, and to the world, that nothing can stop them, not even common sense. And that's where the danger begins. But the danger doesn't stop there. In the haze of alcohol, the narcissist may betray vows, crossing lines of fidelity as though they were nothing more than chalk marks on the ground, easily brushed aside with the shuffle of a foot. And when confronted, they'll stretch out their well-worn excuses. I was drunk. I didn't know. Alcohol becomes their shield, their justification, their ready-made alibi. Accountability dissolves like sugar in water, leaving behind only the bitter taste of betrayal. And if you've ever stood near a narcissist when the bottle runs deep, you know the peril isn't just emotional, it's physical. Alcohol strips away the thin skin covering their rage. A word, a glance, even silence can set fire to their ego. One moment they're the charmer, the life of the party, tossing compliments like confetti, buying drinks for strangers, pulling everyone into their orbit of false warmth. The next moment, at the slightest perceived insult, the mask shatters. The charm curdles into cruelty, the laughter into venom. Voices rise, fists clench, chaos swells. The narcissist must command the room, whether through seduction or fear. And then comes the paranoia. In drunken eyes, shadows move where none exist. The narcissist begins to accuse, to question, to pry. Suspicion gnaws at them, turning into baseless accusations, fueled by their own guilty conscience and magnified by intoxication. They may demand your phone, your keys, even your freedom, blocking doors, confiscating what's yours, leaving you cut off from help. In those moments, alcohol and narcissism are not just a dangerous mix. They are a storm, one that can turn love into captivity, intimacy into violence. Some would argue, but isn't this just anyone under the influence? No. Here lies the difference. The narcissist won't own a single action. The bottle becomes the scapegoat. Or worse, you become the scapegoat. You provoked it. You made me do it. Responsibility is exiled, growth is stunted, and the cycle repeats without end. Even in intimacy, the intoxicated narcissist turns the sacred into something transactional. To be with them is not to be chosen but to be used. While their body is present, their mind might wander to another supply. A name may slip, a thought revealed, showing you the truth. You are not the center, only one piece in their constant game of replacement and rotation. Even in their most vulnerable, their love is divided, their focus scattered, their soul fragmented. And so, when a narcissist drinks, what surfaces isn't merely drunkenness. It's the unveiling of an inner tempest, recklessness, betrayal, rage, paranoia, and a relentless refusal to change. Alcohol doesn't create these things. It only tears down the thin curtain that hides them. And what stands revealed is a person enslaved to the self, unwilling to see, unwilling to change, unwilling to love. When intoxication takes hold of the narcissist, the outcome isn't always reckless passion or explosive behavior. Sometimes, it's indifference. Rather than reaching for closeness, the narcissist may simply collapse, drifting into unconsciousness while the partner is left unseen, untouched, and unwanted. And when morning comes, the excuse is always waiting. It was the alcohol. The bottle becomes the scapegoat, the shield against responsibility, and intimacy is once again dismissed as though it were nothing more than an inconvenience. For the narcissist, supply doesn't always come wrapped in human form. A drink, a pill, a gamble, an image on a screen. These things can become as intoxicating, even more so, than any relationship. Substances deliver a high that feels immediate, and for the narcissist, that quick hit often outweighs genuine connection. That's why so many can't sit in a room with another soul and simply be present. They need the glass in their hand, the smoke in their lungs, the distraction that numbs what lies beneath. And what lies beneath? Anxiety. A gnawing, relentless unease that shadows their every step. The narcissist is always reaching, always searching for relief, trying to quiet the inner storm. So the habits deepen. Money that should sustain a home vanishes into bottles, powders, or secret indulgences. They'll say they're broke, yet there's always enough for the addiction. And the burden of the rest? It falls on the partner, the family, the ones still standing beside them. I've seen this pattern woven through lives. The overt narcissist, wearing anxiety like a badge, making sure everyone knows the world weighs heavy on their shoulders. And the covert narcissist, hiding behind polished smiles, perfectly staged facades, convincing the world they are steady and composed. Yet beneath it all is the same reality. Restless nerves, sleepless nights, and a heart that's never at peace. The mask fools the public, but the addiction always tells the truth. This is why appearances deceive. The narcissist can stand in church pews, coach on the sidelines, host barbecues in the backyard, and appear to live clean, wholesome lives. But behind closed doors, battles rage. Battles with bottles, with pills, with despair. That's why it's folly to say, they never face consequences. How would you know? No one sees behind the veil unless they live it day and night. Public smiles don't erase private torment. Bridges burned, souls wounded, and loneliness carved into their bones. These are consequences, even when the world can't see them. And here's the darker twist. The narcissist doesn't want to spiral alone. Misery loves company. And so does addiction. If they drink, you're expected to drink. If they use, they'll press it into your hand. The aim isn't shared pleasure, it's entrapment. Pulling you into their orbit, stripping away your boundaries, luring you into their cycle until what was once yours is now lost. Many who never imagined themselves in such places find themselves entangled because a narcissist opened the door and coaxed them inside. It's the same snare that drags the vulnerable into destructive worlds disguised as glamorous escape. The same bait and switch that lures souls into bondage under the shimmer of excitement. With a narcissist, the invitation is always there. Come with me, just one drink, just one try. But it's never just one. It's a pathway paved with charm, temptation, and pressure that leads to captivity. A counterfeit paradise that feels like fire when you try to leave. There was once a man who stood tall in the eyes of his community. Steady, respectable, by all accounts a good man. Yet over time, his light dimmed, not because of his own choices at first, but because of the shadow he lived beside. The narcissist in his home drank heavily, night after night, and dabbled in other substances. Slowly, as years went by, he was drawn into her world, adopting the very habits that destroyed her. What began as her addiction became his downfall, too. This is the sinister pull of the narcissist. Not content to spiral alone, they will drag others into the pit with them. It is rarely accidental. They want you weaker, more dependent, more bound to them. They whisper, "Drink with me. Try this. Join me." But their loyalty was never yours to begin with. Their true devotion is to the substance, the escape, the fleeting high. And so the path they walk is one of destruction, and it's a path you must refuse. As the old saying goes, not today, demon. Here lies one of the gravest truths. The mask of the narcissist slips most when intoxication strips away control. Under the haze of alcohol or in the fury of rage, the carefully curated facade begins to crack. Secrets spill out. Careless words betray hidden lives. A name is spoken too many times. A detail slips that was never meant to be shared. The morning after, panic sets in, not because of guilt, but because the truth escaped. I once heard of a narcissist who kept the story of a severe injury locked away for years. Only when drunk, over and over again, did the truth finally spill out. A tale of crime, of a night shadowed by death, of things hidden behind the mask of respectability. And after these slip-ups comes the hangover of gaslighting. The narcissist will swear it never happened. You imagined it. You dreamed it. You're blowing this out of proportion. Or they'll twist it back on you. You provoked me. You made me drink. You made me rage. It's a deliberate strategy, a calculated campaign to make you doubt yourself. One night of violence, another morning of denial. One night of insults, another day of shifting the blame. It's a cycle as destructive as it is predictable. Drunken revelation followed by sober manipulation. And make no mistake, drunkenness in a narcissist doesn't always end in words. Sometimes it erupts into rages so violent that walls are broken, police are called, and fear takes over a home. Alcohol doesn't just remove inhibitions. It unleashes the fury buried deep in the fragile ego. Psychologists call it narcissistic rage, but those who have lived through it know it as pure terror. It's more than anger, it's the eruption of shame, humiliation, and entitlement colliding all at once. Sober, the narcissist may strike with silence or with subtle cruelty. But drunk, there is nothing subtle left. What emerges is raw, dangerous, and unpredictable. For anyone in the blast zone, safety becomes uncertain. This danger isn't limited to the obvious. Even the covert narcissist, polished and composed by day, may lose their grip under alcohol. Suddenly, the secrets they guard so tightly fall out into the open. And though they will regret the confession, though they will claw desperately to retrieve the mask in the morning, those glimpses of honesty reveal what they work so hard to hide. For those who've walked through this storm, hear this clearly. It isn't your fault. The destruction unleashed by an intoxicated narcissist is not a reflection of your worth, but of their brokenness. You can't fix them. You can't love them enough to heal them. Their first love will always be the substance, because it numbs the reality they can't face. And so the path forward must be about you. Your safety, your healing, your life. Boundaries aren't selfish. They're survival. Sometimes it means finding a therapist who understands the wounds of narcissistic abuse. Sometimes it means reaching out to a community that knows this pain. And sometimes it means the hardest choice of all, walking away. But you must know this. Your life, your soul, your safety are worth protecting. If you've lived this, let this be a reminder that you are not alone, and you are not powerless. There is a way out of the chaos. There is a way into healing. And there is life beyond the shadow of the narcissist.